Olaf 3 times for him, this aggressive early game invading jungler that if you make mistakes early on Olaf, makes it very hard to operate later in the game on teamfight. So I think that Trundle is a huge pick for Team, well, there it is, banned away. It would be a huge pick for Team Liquid to try and focus in this draft phase, but RNG have obviously found the same thing and banned it away.
And there's another big pick that we've seen across the tournament, Ezreal being removed by Team Liquid alongside the Kai'Sa and the Gangplank from RNG.
And the jungle bans will continue here, so it seems like they're screaming for a first pick Olaf, or potentially looking to take a dip into another area because the jungle pool is already going to be constricted. Notice it's an Ezreal ban against Uzi, who's been prioritizing, as they mentioned, the crit 80 carries. They seem to think that Uzi's going to speed things up.
Yeah, I think RNG had some, good analysis of Team Liquid and how they did not look very good when they were forced into an earlier game-oriented style. Team Liquid has not had a history this split of playing that well in the early game and focusing on that. Much more later game for the team fight, so they tried to force that. This way, they draw out the Olaf ban and instead get the first pick Rakan for Ming, who has been such a huge playmaker and initiator for RNG.
And giving Uzi and Ming Xayah Rakan already sounds scary, but I want to talk about what Team Liquid has been able to pick up. So much this tournament has been about Ole. His Tahm Kench play, it didn't get over. The Alistar having to be on primary initiation after not even playing the first game of the day and having confidence issues, that wasn't working. Now we're on his old standard. He's on the Morgana. His role changes. The Skarner's there for initiation. The laning phase is safer. This is what is needed to get Ole a bit of confidence back.
Yeah, we're going to have a very close eye on how the bottom lane operates. They got 2v2 killed yesterday without, any jungler intervention. And in the Morgana, matchups, whatever the AD carry is, into a Xayah Rakan, you have to be very cognizant of your positioning next to your AD carry and not allow both of you to get caught. Plus, the timing on your Black Shield has to be on point to avoid that engagement.
And for Royal Never Give Up, they'll be very happy with this bottom lane.
Of course.
Khan, Xayah, yesterday they played it up against EVOS and absolutely destroyed. Getting them that mid-game aggression that we talked about works well against Team Liquid. RNG looking for their mid-lane pick here perhaps as well. The Talia, so strong for Xiaohu.
Very early round Talia, and Talia started to fall away in other regions. Okay, it's going to be changed because of counter picks. Now we do see the Zoe come through. Of course, a cap special from this tournament already. Hyped to see it from Xiao, and a different look. This guy has been on all sorts of different champions. Had a Karma game, he's had a Vladimir game. Now he straddles the line on this early game powerhouse in Zoe.
Yeah, watching him in the LPL, I was very impressed with the versatility. He did have a very high impact with champions like Zoe, but as you said, also can play the supportive champions. This time around, Pobelter will have to deal, with these big chunks of damage that Zoe can provide, and that kind of dissuades you in the mid lane from picking things like Ryze or Azir, which have been Pobelter's go-to. So even though it is a blind pick Zoe, knowing the player that they're playing against, again, I think that RNG has done some very good research.
They also noticed that when it came to these 80 carries, they didn't want to opt in. You see Team Liquid here. They take the Caitlyn. They don't take one of those two champions you mentioned, and they could potentially start banning away some of those good matchups into the Zoe. So the Caitlyn priority, again, the only Caitlyn priority we've seen has been very, very recently. It does mean that that damage output is going to be more towards the late game.
Yeah, in the North American LCS, the Morgana and Caitlyn emerged very early in the season, especially into Xayah Rakan, trying to use the Morgana, binding plus Caitlyn trap as a chain form of CC, pushing the lane early on, and this has always been basically our answer to the duo.
And now as we move into the second phase of bans, we are seeing that jungle priority from Team Liquid. No jungler for Royal Never Give Up yet. And the Yasuo removed by RNG from Pobelter. Although he didn't have the best of performances on it yesterday, still a strong pick in that matchup. Team Liquid are going to actually force RNG to find a totally new jungler here. The Zac, the Sejuani removed, Olaf, Trundle off the cards, and only the Skarner picked up by Xmith.
Kha'Zix and Lee Sin are the only other junglers that have been played so far at MSI 2018 group stages, so certainly going to the dregs of the champion pool. Interesting ban on the RNG side. They don't double ban to protect the Zoe. They do ban away the Sin, suggesting that Let Me, just like he always does, is looking for one of those capable tanks in Ornn. If it's available, it's going to be pretty much a slam dunk for RNG.
Yeah, and that has been one of Impact's kind of wild card surprise answers for a lot of people. No surprise any longer, though, and it is banned away. Here comes the Vladimir, flexible pick for either Pobelter or Impact, but I would assume it is for Pobelter.
I mean, your first instinct after his struggles on Gangplank is that he's going to be very much sticking to the mid lane. Mid lane Vladimir could potentially get poked out early by the Zoe, but just as they suggested with the Singed ban, the Ornn is so obvious here, and now you have so much AoE to respect in team fights. If you see the Rakan, hell, if you don't even see the Ornn, the engage range potential is massive.
It's so long. You've got Sleepy Trouble Bubble, you've got the quickness, the charm, the jump in, then you've got the long range engage from the Call of the Forge God as well. RNG really could round this out with pretty much any jungler, maybe a bit of damage for them as well. It's gonna be the Nocturne. We saw Gambit play this earlier on in MSI. Such a strong pick.
Kobe, take it away. You're all about the Nocturne.
Yeah, I'm super hyped to see the Nocturne. I would assume that he'll do the lethal tempo again. But this champion is such a feast or famine champion in competitive play, because you want to build full damage so that you can pick people off in the side lanes, if everyone is split off and stuff. And you can also use the ultimate to deny vision for coordinating those team fights. Since RNG has so much more AoE, it will be easier for them to actually dissect Team Liquid.
But isn't it interesting that we do see Impact return to a champion? We know he can play. He has always been a fantastic Shen player, but it's into Nocturne, it's into the paranoia and the denial of some of that global utility. It is still a good pick. It works into the Ornn. You feel good about a lot of what Team Liquid has drafted. Maybe this will finally be the time that they echo their NA performance, but the Nocturne-Shen interaction is interesting.
It is interesting because if the Nocturne ults, then the entire map going dark means Shen won't be able to click on any of his allies to use the shield. However, the Nocturne doesn't really feel like it is the last piece into the puzzle of RNG. It feels like because Team Liquid did so many jungle bans, that's kind of what they're left with at the end. Exactly, because Nocturne likes to be more of the assassin and have people split up, whereas most of the rest of the team looking at the team fights.
Something it does do well, though, is accelerate the tempo of the game. We said that's what we wanted to see from RNG, this early mid-game power. The Nocturne combined with the Xayah, with the Rakan, definitely helps them do that.
Definitely could be a bottom lane focus. We've seen so much from RNG, trying to get Uzi ahead, trying to funnel money into him. Uzi has some of the highest gold percentage stats, of people here at the tournament, and we'll see if RNG can send a lot of resources down his way.
We have focused a lot on what RNG want to do in this pick ban. How are Team Liquid going to answer it? They've got a slightly slower composition with the Vlad and with the Caitlyn, but how do they change their fortunes here on day 3?
My read on this team is they need to be proactive around the first turret. The first turret rolls down, BF sword and attack speed, Caitlyn roams around, Shen can cut between lanes. From ahead they can be powerful. In the late game though, largely trading on the team fight power of the Vladimir.
Exactly. If you look down the lanes and what they want to do, Caitlyn Morgana wants to push the lane, harass under the turret, get some turret damage down, with having the added safety of a Shen from the top lane and the possibility of him coming down to protect bottom. But again, as you illustrated in Champ Select, if the Nocturne is level 6 and is the one ganking the bottom lane, that's where RNG kind of would be able to carve out a window with which for them to pull off the play. So the timings are going to be very important. The other thing for Team Liquid is that they do have a lot of single target playmaking ability, Black Shield protecting one, as well as Skarner ultimate early on in the game, being very useful to try and find those skirmish.
Nice binding.
As the binding from Ole lands onto Zhao, who has some treat underneath his tower, forced away. Will be able to go back to base if he
it's a bit too late, I think.
Chugging the potion.
1 minute 10, he's going to have to chug at least one potion, probably enter lane a little bit below full health, and that means that some of the trading patterns, and honestly, Zhao, who wants to be very on the front foot, you can take aggressive trades early against Vladimir. That's going to be denied away with the fact that he has no potions entering laning phase.
Yeah, definitely a good sign there for Ole. Accurate in the bindings on the first part of the game here, and as you said, on a very comfortable champion for him. So see how this laning phase goes. Immediately they're onto the minion wave, but Ming and Uzi are threatening the very scary early duo power of Xayah Rakan.
And I want to do a bit of bookkeeping for the viewers. We are still on patch 8.8 when it comes to MSI 2018. Remember, you can't just go back, pop back into lane, get another Doran's ring and be fine. It really affects your back timings on this particular patch compared to, say, 8.9 or the live patch right now. So it's a very punishing laning phase for Zhao Hu to have to deal with.
Now the binding connects there from Ole. Has been a big story, the support role for Team Liquid. Ole subbing out for game 1 yesterday. Now sitting on that comfort pick, 100% win record with this Morgana in the NALCS this split.
And he hadn't been overlooking the Morgana, was banned away from him. Obviously, when you know a player is down in confidence, banning away his comfort champions and also a strong meta champion, Morgana, made a lot of sense.
3 out of 3 with the binding. The Knight comes down as well. The trap heal has to be used there from Uzi to keep Ming alive. in the bottom lane.
Yeah, that's that crowd control combo that we talked about, being able to easily lay down the trap under the binded target. So the Ignite also came out there. And chunking down the Rakan's health, well, most people are always like, oh, you always want your damage onto the AD carry. You know, that does start to dissuade the Rakan if you can get through a lot of the potions early from him having the threat of the all-ins, of going aggressive. And that's where a lot of the power of that duo does come from.
And when it comes to power of duos, I really ask the observers as the game goes on, if we have a pretty quiet time, to show bot lane, because we want to see how in sync Doublelift and Ole are. They do have power in the lane. They do have double range. There's a lot of potential in this lane, but given all the talk around how things are going in the Team Liquid camp, just seeing how the trades are and whether they're in sync is a really important thing for Liquid fans to take away.
Yeah, and it seems they're not really overcommitting to anything early on. They're actually seeding, you know, some of the lane presence here. That's because now with level 3, Rakan does have that option to go in with the Grand Entrance. And they do have the Deadly Plumage as well for Uzi to put out so much early attack damage.
Can see Zhao, who has had to back in the mid lane, switched out his Ignite forward teleport, sitting on double Dorans now, back in the lane, but Pobelder took quite a big advantage in that lane just from having the early harass.
This binding accuracy is
just perfect. Doublelift gets first blood in the bottom lane.
Just too easy. That was 4 or 5 bindings in a row that we caught. The last one just enough. They get the chain CC. And what a confidence booster for Ole in particular, but specifically the Team Liquid bot lane.
Again, that is going to be so big for the mentality of this team. This is a 0-4, first place North American representative at this tournament, and getting some early momentum for themselves could give them a lot more confidence as far as the mid-game shot calling. This is going to be as well be an Infernal Drake, so any power in the bottom lane is going to have...
This looks so easy, Kobe.
Yeah, I mean, the bindings that Ole throws out here as he's walking up, kind of the sleight of hand here. Yep. Look to the left, throw the binding out as you're passing by.
It's the synergy as well, though, because Doublelift last hits the minion as the binding's coming out to get that binding to connect. Maybe seeing some signs of hope here for Team Liquid.
And for once, a bit of an isolated bot lane, because Nocturne and Skarner, they have other identities. Instead of going bot lane pre-6, it was just about the laning phase. We thought they were just warning shots when Ole were throwing out the earlier bindings. That one was lethal.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of lethal, and we talked a little bit about the lethal tempo, some people get surprised, they like to see the electrocute for the immediate explosion of damage when Nocturne goes in, but lethal tempo has really risen in priority because of the amount of kill secure you can get. Basically, once you're in combat, you jump in with the ultimate. If your fear duration goes off and you get the lethal damage to proc and have that extra attack speed, you can pretty much take down any of the targets in a 1-versus-1 scenario. And having his ultimate cover the darkness, disallowing, at least for that time period, for the Shen Shield to come in would be what they're looking for.
And when you talk about that commitment, because of course Nocturne is all about hard commitment in fights, he doesn't have a lot of friends. Rakan will probably try to be joining in the backline, maybe jumping around. The Ornn ultimate's going to be most of it. That's going to be Sleepy Trouble bubble hitting.
XMP pops the Predator as well, but Zhao Hu is able just to retreat up towards the top side of the lane.
Yeah, and even though he doesn't have anyone protecting him from the top side, this early in the game, there's not enough vision on the map to chase mid laners to the dark side of the map. They hadn't seen MOG in a while, so they just back off there because Pobelter had sustained a decent amount of damage.
And honestly, in the late game, if MLXG dives in, trades his life for Doublelifts, he's probably pretty happy with what he's done. That's pretty much the most he can accomplish. Nocturne versus Vladimir in a team fight really can't do much. It's going to be largely about single target assassination for the Nocturne, and then inevitably going down.
So true. That's why we've seen so many failures of Nocturne picks in pro play. In scrims and everything, everyone talks about the 20-kill Nocturnes taking over and ending the scrim by 15 minutes. But in pro play, oftentimes, because it is so stalled out, by the time you get to the 5-on-5s, the Nocturne becomes very ineffective and killed very quickly in those team fights. But again, we'll have to see about those breakpoints. Right now, he's headed up to the top side to give Impact a little visit.
Well, we always talk about ganking the lane with the TP or with the Stand United. Ganking Shen works out. There's the Paranoia coming out, the knock-up as well. Great Spirit's Refuge, so we'll keep him alive for the time being. And can't get the damage down. Impact survives in the top lane.
And this is what he does on champions like the Shen. He just survives. Uses his flash, he'll have to walk back to lane. But that's a lot used by RNG. Double flash expended as well.
You have to keep a clear mind and always track the summoners that are blown offensively as well as defensively. offensively because both flashes there were used, Nocturne and Ornn. It means there's a lot less power on the top side. Currently, Team Liquid moves straight into the Dragon because Impact was able to absorb the pressure on top side, revealing both jungler and top laner.
All these color points, Kobe, I hear them when I'm listening to Liquid victories back in NA. They cut the map, they make a very smart move, very proactive at going to the Infernal Drake. Again, things starting to come together, largely from Impact, fully fulfilling his
Predator is ready for Smithy.
Flash away from Uzi straight away, but there's the suppression. Teleport coming in from Let Me to try and counteract this. Zhao Hu's going to draw one up as well already. They've got one though. Ming able to get underneath the tower. There's Let Me. Impact gets him. Zhao Hu now in a 2v5 with Let Me. Impact tanking up the tower, but here's the Hemo play from Pobelter. And Team Liquid are turning it around on day 3. They're winning these early skirmishes. They're getting the kills they want. But MLXG is trying to turn it back around for RNG. A lot of damage from the paddle star. MLXG not going to be able to get onto that back line.
Oh yeah, he was looking for a Q to finish off Pobelter, and the added dive of the Vladimir in the 1v2 there under the turret seemed like I was getting a little antsy. You know, that was a little bit extra on the end. They do get out, but does mean that RNG now, you know, they have the health lead, and they're trying to look for somebody sticking around.
Pobelter, the blue buff stops it. That was very close to hitting him, but Zhao Hu does steal away the blue in the end. Great start here for Team Liquid though, 1,600 gold ahead, 3 kills, an Infernal as well, and making plays like this.
And it's all on the bot side of the map. RNG should have known he was here. They just took the Infernal.
Yeah.
Pops the Predator, walks in. Bit surprised Lucy died so instantly, but he went down. Do notice that when Vladimir finally joins, there's no minion wave, and no one can follow after the Hemoplate went down.
Yeah, a lot of damage was already sustained from Impact. He went under the turret to grab the extra kill, and then they're cornered a little bit here, but because everyone survives, and they have the vision control, they're able to get right out. Another visit!
Once again, down in that bottom lane, the stun lock is perfect on Ming. And Team Liquid get their 4th kill.
Great punishment here from Team Liquid, and the North American fans begin to dare to hope a bit as Team Liquid bottom lane is snowballing out of control here. This is a 2-0-2 Caitlyn for double lift. That's going to accelerate his crit build very, very well in this game. First turret bonus gold should also be given over to him.
Exactly, the solo gold to get that expensive build rolling. We can see on your screen it's going to be a casual 1,400 or so gold lead. 1,800, I apologize. A massive gold lead rolls on here to double lift. And that time, the first time I take exception, they knew that the Skarner was on the bot side of the map. This time, Xmithy actually wraps around before Skarner ultimate is even available. That's the timer that RNG would have been respecting. They weren't respecting that he could just return pre the ultimate being available. But very nice pathing from Xmithy, who's been a monster for Team Liquid.
Yeah, he heads right back down there, runs through the control ward, able to get his E and stun onto Rakan, finish it up, you know, keep him in place there for Olay to land the binding, who, by the way, has been so accurate all game long, calmly performing this time around.
I think sitting back and watching Joey and the team struggle, coming back in, sure the game didn't work out at one good moment in lane, and now getting the Morgana. This has been the final piece of the puzzle. Rakan was drafted at first pick, and Morgana, through NALCS, came in as that big counter pick to Xayah Rakan. This is exactly the prototype lane, Caitlyn Morgana, that NALCS used and wielded to answer the threat of Xayah Rakan.
Exactly. People said they wanted to see, you know, more of the Team Liquid from the North American LCS, and this is one of those comps that definitely does look like it. Impact right now, though, going to have another difficult escape on his hands.
Dustbringer comes out from MLXG.
Finds it
There's
out.
the fear as well, but Impact able to survive it for the moment.
Yeah, he's able to get the ward down, goes and checks the brush so that he's not cornered at the turret, and they will just elect to trade those turrets. This is also better communication than we've been seeing from the team. Now calling the weak side, telling them to back off a little bit here, and they'll just trade.
That was kind of the point I was saying on the analyst desk yesterday. Was it felt like that there was trust falls done with the Team Liquid members yesterday, the day before. They would have been failures. People have been falling on their backs because there really wasn't much backup from this Team Liquid lineup. Now the communication is strong, the trust in the bot lane, the Morgana. Maybe that just ends up being the prodigal son pick here, but everything has fallen into place after that.
But on the other side of the map, RNG drafted this early oppressive composition where they could get a lot of damage down and haven't been able to do it. They're trading tower for tower. They're behind 2,000 gold. RNG are looking very weak right now.
Definitely true. They used a lot of resources, you know, elsewhere, and every single time they got nothing out of it. That escape by Impact on top side was so big early in the game. Rift Herald now used in the mid lane here for Team Liquid for some added siege pressure as double lift on the Caitlyn has rotated over, as well as Smithy and Ole getting some vision in the jungle first.
I appreciate the backup. Does Pobelter had a struggle of the laning phase against Xiaohu. Mid turret force, very low. Didn't have a speck of damage on it before this all started, but just sending out first. They have wards at the top side. They're starting to get vision on the bot side as well. This Nocturne's already looking pretty predictable in terms of where he uses his second paranoia, and the first one, as we notice, actually turned on the team as well.
And again, Nocturne kind of fallback plan doesn't really exist. If you start building semi-tank on a Nocturne, then you don't really accomplish your main goal either, of trying to assassinate that target. Even with something like Lethal Temple, where everything is about hitting that break point of killing the target. They want to be able to kill double lift. He is the offender #1 on Team Liquid. RNG's the most wanted, where they're trying to get back there. But it's going to take some coordination from, as you said in Champ Select, the Ornn ultimate plus a Rakan engage, and that would open up the door for MLXG and maybe Xiaohu to try and take down the priority target.
And honestly, that's a great word to describe what you'll feel. The Paranoia ultimate is just the Nocturne ultimate. If you add in a giant Ornn horn going out and also the Rakan, that's a lot of disarray, and that's when, once again, if the gold lead maybe gets a bit smaller, if we actually have competitive items, Team Liquid will be tested again. Because the early game test, they're passing with flying colors.
And they're going to do it by taking their second Infernal Drake of the game. Great objective control, only that mid tower left for them to take out of those outer turrets. Team Liquid are looking incredibly strong at the start of day 3.
It's just the reality of if you lose your bot lane turret to Caitlyn Morgana, they've controlled the bot side of the map, and Impact has space to use his ultimate. You can't walk up, you can't threaten. So take the free objectives, and you're very happy that they're Infernal Drakes.
Yeah, huge early lead here for Team Liquid with most of the control of the map right now. RNG trying to get a little bit of space here up on the top side, but Smithy does scout them out.
Once again, we see MLXG struggling in the early game, not able to find those opportunities, was forced onto a second-tier, third-tier jungler as well by Team Liquid.
Bit surprised he didn't go for one of his old picks, like the Lee Sin, for example, we've seen once this tournament. I would have liked that with the buffs that came through over time. Went for this opportunistic Nocturne. The team hasn't been in sync so far.
Double Lift doing a good job there of holding on the mid lane. RNG can't really make too many super offensive moves unless they commit a lot of these ultimate abilities and are confident that they've caught someone from Team Liquid out of position. That's what they're looking for at the moment. Team Liquid are trying to play it by the books. They want to push out the side waves. They're sending Impact on bottom right now. Top lane is already pushing, and then they can siege mid with their super fed Caitlyn, who, even though, Caitlyn has the mid-game dip here where your crit hasn't come together and you're kind of in an awkward spot, no Infinity Edge yet. He's got 2 Infernal Drakes on top of, the flat attack damage and the static Shiv proc, so he's ahead of the normal Caitlyn curve, which kind of makes up for the actual dip.
Worry a bit for the team comp of RNG. We talked about the late game team fights, but just going a little bit earlier. It's what they want to do around the Zoe. Zoe needs the setup time. Nocturne needs the setup time. You'll notice another Relic Shield jungler is coming out here from McSmithy. In about, say, 5 to 6 minutes, he'll have had enough gold to actually finish the quest, put down vision of himself and a sweeper. The aggressive vision is going to continue from the side of TL. They get deep vision around whichever objective they set up for. Nocturne and Zoe become predictable. It's just easy for Caitlyn to roll down, put down the traps, you take a turret, and you actually continue to grow this gold lead for TL.
Exactly. The game plan is keep double lift upright, allow him to get off his auto attacks, and they're going to win. Pobelter on the Vladimir, also at a very good point. Even though he hasn't gotten any kills and he was slightly down in CS, you have the breakpoints here. The Shirelius is done. That's going to allow the entire team that boost of move speed. And Smithy looking for that priority target, whereas Pobelter just kind of playing the mid-line mage there.
This is something RNG can do, though. If they clear out vision when Team Liquid step forward to get that vision back in their jungle, RNG might be able to make a catch.
And TL does have to use the buddy system because they don't have a tank support. They have a range support in Morgana, who doesn't want to use Black Shield every time she puts down a ward. But they just want to take this last turret. Smithy pops the Predator. That's all he needs. And they do take down that all-important mid-lane outer turret.
Opens up the map a little bit more for Team Liquid, but means they need to get that deep vision in because there's more catch potential for RNG.
And right now, they're going to have to reset, catch the top wave. They should feel confident that Double Lift and Ole can hold this mid lane with the wave clear. Static Shiv was already done. Caitlyn in a pretty safe spot, and they have the Black Shield in addition to a line of traps here. to allow them some more space to clear the wave out.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, Kobe, but I look at a game like this, and this is the exact sort of game the TL was good at closing. That was what I noticed about them in playoffs, is when you needed to be methodical, when you had strong late-game team fighting, TL, you could say, 9 out of 10 times, would close pretty cleanly. And at this tournament, the biggest gold lead that's been overturned at 15 minutes is less than 1,000. It's 800 gold. So they're set up to succeed. The tournament meta seems to suggest Snowball. You should almost be prematurely celebrating.
You're trying to reignite
I am.
the North American
NA
flame here?
optimism, baby.
Too bad. The Bunsen burner is off right now. We are going to need to see a little bit more because RNG have won team fights from big gold deficits.
Sure.
They are extremely good at operating within the 5-on-5. So, I'll be very cautiously optimistic, but here goes Ming.
Double shot's going to land Xiaohu there as well with the Paddle Star Ignite comes out, but MLXG unable to engage with the Paranoia. Team Liquid bodying up in the jungle.
That cooldown with the Paranoia being down does mean that Nocturne has very, very little impact, for the next duration of the cooldown here for this game. So RNG probably going to play a way safer right now. If they don't have the explosiveness of a Rakan ultimate and a Nocturne ultimate, I don't see that they kill Double Lift unless there's a big positioning mistake.
Zhao looking for a pick. Over the wall, not able to pick it up. Olay traded Flash, but that means the Skarner still has Flash Impale available. So, he's going to be a bit more backliner. We see the engage attempt, but...
Runs in with the Predator, Gleaming Crow, and Featherstorm used there from Uzi. Not really too much burn at all from Team Liquid. Impact caught off towards the bottom side of the map. Can flash, but the flash chase from both members of RNG. Ming here as well. The knockup connects, and RNG do find the pick they've been looking for.
Definitely a big pick for RNG. They had just lost a lot of cooldowns for their ultimates, so that buys them a lot of time. Definitely a very good one step here for RNG trying to get back into this game.
Shen was on the weak side of the map. They didn't have deep vision, the control ward around the red buff, giving the insurance to employ the buddy system. Take more down. Next, Infernal Drake spawns in 40 seconds. Seems like most of those cooldowns will be out. The flashes, of course, no. That's when the return attempt needs to be made. It seems like RNG need to stand and be counted for, because surrendering 3 Infernal Drakes in the early game. I know you're behind. Surrendering objectives is a viable strategy, but 3 Infernals, that seems like a bridge too far.
All right, well, here's another look at MLXG walking right behind Impact. They know he's going to go for the flash over the wall, so he instantly answers. Since Ming and Xiaohu were already rotating, they do get the kill just in time before Team Liquid were able to rotate with everyone else to defend him. And that's what bought RNG this time to try and set up for that 3rd Infernal Drake.
Impact is on the side lane, though. Letme does have teleport if he wants to get across there.
He has the ultimate split push. There's Banner and also the pushing ability to Tiamat upgrade. Here we go.
Oh, that's the dead Zoe, but the Infernal Drake does go to RNG.
And Team Liquid want to chase them and disallow them from answering Impact right now. That Infernal Drake, they were able to get off the map, but it's at the cost of a top turret. And the kill onto Xiaohu means there's even more map presence from Team Liquid right now. They could push on mid, but they actually spread out here because bottom lane was pushing and sent Double Lift to grab those minions instead. So maybe it will just stay at the cost of that one single turret.
It's such a long map. They have extra vision from the Relic Shield, which very soon the quest will be upgraded when the Targon's picked up. They will know almost always which side the map Nocturne is on. Titanic Hydra and Banner of Command is so obnoxious as 2 items, especially 20 minutes into the game where Ornn has his own Banner of Command and just a bit of health.
And you can see Double Lift's building up that crit as well in that bottom lane, has the Infinity Edge and the Static Shiv. Team Liquid with a 4,000 gold lead. And again, Kobe, don't want you to have too much hope, but in the NALCS, when they had a gold lead at 20, 94.7% win rate.
Those numbers, they're sounding pretty
good
juicy.
numbers.
You
They're
keep
good
trying.
numbers.
You're not going to convince me, you guys. Meanwhile, though, I would say that Team Liquid looks so much better in the 1-4 rather than 1-3-1 that we've been seeing, with Impact being the one split pushing rather than Pobelter. Pobelter on the Vladimir obviously want to stay with the team. He has the Shurelias for the team speed up. So if they, again, go into the 1-4 after prepping topside first, I think they'll be in a pretty good position here. Impact has headed back down to the bottom, and he doesn't have flash on the Shen, so he does still have to worry about Nocturne picking him off, because that's one of the good things about Nocturne later in the game. You can easily pick off side lane pushers with your ultimate very quickly, and then still try and rejoin the rest of your team before you lose too much on the map elsewhere.
And I like that you're talking about lane assignments, because Xiaohu's the one who's kind of had to struggle, right? Because he wants to be in a short lane, in mid lane, picking up blue buff and farming. Mid lane Turk going down early. There's lots of options here for TL and how they play the map. Pretty minimal ones for Xiaohu. That means that he's been pretty well held.
Battlestar won't connect onto Smithy, but the vision clear does come out from RNG. Double lift now with the team, just clearing out as much of that control as he can. Team Liquid are setting up towards this Baron right now. 22 minutes in.
Ooh, that has to be some bait. If you see only double lift coming out of the brush like that.
Yeah.
Once again, Biden connects from Ole as well. Oh, Pobelter spotted out by the Oracle's alteration from MLXG. So they knew that Vlad was waiting.
Right now, Team Liquid should just poke around this Baron and buy time for Impact split pushing to take its toll. He's almost at the turret, getting some damage on the turret now, while all of RNG are up around this Baron, contesting the vision. Team Liquid, again, slowly still increasing their lead. And this is what you want to see from Team Liquid, is staying calm, slowly pressuring, keeping their advantage on the side, and finishing up that secondary turret would give them much more confidence.
And Lebby just has no good place on the map to be. He's desperately needed if they want to play around Baron. If they want to stop Baron, he's the only true tank, so he wants to be tanking it, and then they look to turn and force Shen up. But then Shen's just free split pushing him, but he's also the only real primary initiate from deep from range, and you need that, given that you're behind in goal about 4,000 at this point. So his map assignment, his timings are so specific, and the rest of the time, TL have a lot of advantages.
Definitely agree. And we are already hitting these item timings that we've been waiting for with Team Liquid. Double lift now with the 3 core items for Caitlyn, has all of his crit multipliers ready, so she'll be putting out quite a bit of damage if they do get forced into one of these team fights. And if Impact can get there with the Stand United, you know, before someone does drop from Nocturne Ultimate, then they'll be very, very confident in executing that.
So you have to agree that so far, we definitely give the pass marks for Team Liquid. The next thing is Baron setup, because we're running out of easy objectives. Most of the inner turrets, let alone outer turrets, have been collapsed on the Rift. So seeing how TL can also set up a Baron setup is going to be a big thing to judge now, because otherwise it's very difficult for them to force.
Definitely agree with that, because their eyes are going to be on Baron. They have to worry about that, but they also need to worry about the possibility of RNG forcing the fight here and looking for those flanks. So all the vision here through the sides of Team Liquid, they need to be able to see if Ornn is anywhere close, because you know that that combo is what they're looking for. You know, anytime Double Lift is exposing himself on the map, they have to have, you know, the fallback pattern set in motion.
And there's so many different components you have to track as well. Where's the Rakan? Where's the Nocturne? Where's the Ornn? So many different options.
Just want to point to the fact 24 minutes, that's when the quest has been finished. That means they have extra wards. We should see Smithy move over to the sweeper. We're going to ignore that point for now, because they're actually already poking onto that.
No vision at all from RNG. Zhao, who's gone back towards the base. The Baron pretty free at the moment for Team Liquid. RNG will eventually check it, but it's already down to 5,000 HP.
Yep, and they should be able to finish it off here. Ming's coming to check now, though. 3,000 HP!
Smithy's so low as well. Teleport's going to come in straight away. There's the paranoia as well. Popper and LXG. Ole is in the wrong position, and RNG find the team fight. They want a double job on the back line as well, and RNG have found the perfect opportunity to collapse on Team Liquid. Pobelter goes golden, but he goes back to Fountain. The sleeps landed on Smithy as well, and Team Liquid have to run away.
Team Liquid linger on the Baron for too long. They don't have tanks to tank it down. It's only Impact in the bot side. Now the Baron's going to be started by RNG. What's the response going to be?
Well, they're headed right around. Smithy's extremely low, but Impact and Double Lift want to try and stop them.
If this is the moment to prove you're a superstar, this is the moment for Double Lift to step up to the plate. He's 3 items on the Caitlyn. The Baron's low. RNG still on it, though. Smithy could steal across the wall with the blast cone. He's going to jump in. And Smithy gets it, and Team Liquid are able to get out as well. Impact survives, Double Lift survives, and Team Liquid survive in this game.
Are you kidding me? My heart
Kobe
drops to the floor, and Smithy picks it up. Once again, the Baron steal from Smithy. He just always seems to get these. Brings me back to MSI in China 2 years ago.
Happy
3 years
memories,
ago,
Kobe.
But he's able to control the objectives.
All right, we're bouncing now. We bouncing.
We're bouncing now.
All right.
Smithy, though, in the end, I don't know why that was such an early smite from MLXG to actually get it down to 200 HP. We'll see here. Maybe it's miscommunication about burst damage. But if you look at it, there's a very early smite, and then Smithy takes the blast cone.
They have no ability to cancel out the vision, ward around the back. We're watching it here. That smite is pretty damn early. It's almost too easy. 220 health. He pops over and gets it. RNG had been so on point with their team fighting. We already mentioned the wards are down. You get one team fight, you lose it, the game might just be over. They give themselves the chance to get back in, and then kind of close their door on themselves as well.
It's not exactly the Baron take that Team Liquid were looking for, but we'll take it.
The setup grade is actually quite difficult. It's kind of a C- and an A+ at the same time, but you take what you can get.
How great is that for Team Liquid, though? Because the Baron buffs that survived is impact in that side lane. It's double lift, it's Ole. The ability to play that 1-4 that we talked about now is perfect for Team Liquid.
And we saw that if your setup's not perfect, you don't have a tank tanking up the Baron. You fall low, you make some mistakes. It looked like it was going to be a straightforward Baron passover to RNG, but you end up with it regardless. Breaking the base with this buff and how strong Caitlyn is. She even has the insurance of the Mercurial Scimitar already.
King's going to engage straight on towards X-Smithy. He's called out, he's locked down as well. Here's the call of the Forge God, looking for the connection onto double. And Featherstorm comes out as well through the Stand United. He will get 2, but he goes down in the end. Now it's on Pobelter, the Hemo play from the side. That is a very dead Uzi. Letme has to run for the wins here, has the blast cone to knock himself into the pit, and Team Liquid will settle with 3 kills.
Well, it looks like they're still chasing a bit here. Ole wraps around,
Doesn't want the Letme to get a back off here. Just going to trade his time for Letme's.
Impact's actually teleported up towards the top lane as well here to try and push towards this inhibitor tower.
Going to be able to do a lot of damage with this bannered up Baron empowered cannon minion at his back as well. Impact definitely going to be able to get the inhibitor turret at least, and Ole still chasing Letme, the Ornn, throughout the map, not allowing him to get back there and defend.
It's the best use of his time. He can't stop minion waves from walking over. He can't get there to try to clear. Can't use ultimate. Pobelter gets to push at the same time. Great use of his time from Ole. This is the sort of walkabout we can appreciate.
And you have to look at Ole this game and compare him to the last 2 days and say, what a transformation for this player. In lane, his bindings were on point. He missed the game yesterday because he wasn't in the right mental state. Now he's come back, and he's actually leading Team Liquid towards a victory.
All right, let's take another look at this initiation from Ming. They're going to see Smithy go right on him. Double F, again, he's so strong right now that he can put out a lot of damage. But here, once they've seen the Ornn ultimate going right at him,
they got super aggressive. Uzi actually flashes in to get the Featherstorm up. While they do kill one, it's not double lift, and then they can stand and deliver.
Yeah, and I think that Ole probably could have, if they were communicated that Impact was getting Stand United onto double lift, stayed a little bit closer to the fight as they were going straight for double lift. But as soon as he saw Pobelter, heading up as well, he moved with Smithy, and they did clean up the fight.
Just want to quickly tell you guys, Pentakill and Baron Steel promotions are back for MSI 2018 with Xmithy Steel. You have double the chance of legendaries and esports skins in mystery items through the end of the group stage. So thank you very much, Team Liquid. Your first win may be a win for many other people out there.
And they break the base, though. They're able to push up. They've already taken one inhibitor turret, but no inhibitor just yet. There's just so few gameplay patterns when a Caitlyn is this far ahead, the traps come down, and the Nocturne so far has been anemic at best. They rotate through mid lane. Team Liquid going by the book.
Team Liquid have gone through some very big ups and downs this tournament, but right now they're firing on all cylinders. All of the outer turrets have been taken. It seems like they'll be able to clean this one up. First, after reset, finish up the top wave. Ole clearing out some vision might be the target.
I can feel the hope building, but I want to just look back to the Fnatic versus RNG game on day 1. It was a very similar set of circumstances. Fnatic were ahead, they were pushing for inhib, they had the Baron, and then RNG were able to find that one fatal team fight that turned it all around. That's exactly what this RNG composition wants to do. Team Liquid have to play this well to close out the game.
So tricky, though. They had the Shen ultimate. Vladimir in the late game is a force unbeknownst to many people. He basically feels like a Malphite ult and an Orianna ult at the same time. That old combo needed 2 champions. He's so strong at this point, and he's so able to get to the back line that peeling him away from either of Uzi and Zhao, and sometimes both, will be impossible. It can still happen, you're right. We cannot write in the victory just yet, but it's tricky.
Yeah, you can be so much more confident now, though, that after Team Liquid were able to get that Baron and expand on it with the 3,600 gold Baron power play, now you can be so much more confident in them sieging up, finishing out this game with the Caitlyn Morgana in full swing here, and allowing the Vladimir and Shen to get the other 2 waves in position first. But yeah, it was definitely a little dicey before the Baron had been taken.
Some damage numbers here, and so far about doubling the damage dealt by Uzi is double lift this game. Certainly being unlocked.
Yeah,
from the early laning phase, things looked a lot better.
Remember back to the beginning of this game and how well the bottom side of the map went for Team Liquid. Here we go, though. Banner is used, and it is dematerialized instantly.
Need to have a look at how many stacks there are left on those dematerializers as well, because another Baron is up in 50 seconds. Banner of Command can push it in. Only one left for left.
You have a pretty awkward lane assignment when you actually come to sieging down the inhibitor turrets, because ideally Vladimir wouldn't be helping in a 4-1 siege. Doesn't really do anything, doesn't have long attack range. He wants to be instantly wave clearing the side lane, but then Nocturne, Ornhorn goes out, someone can die, and the 1-3-1, this comp very quickly can kill one member. So Pobelta's best spot in this 4-1 is up for debate.
That's why he's sticking with the Flash and Ghost. You can tell he's committing to the 4-1 rather than swapping over to a teleport. The extra mobility, for the team fight should come in very handy.
So we see RNG give up the Mountain Drake for some vision around the Baron. 8 seconds before that spawns. Team Liquid last time actually had a very good Baron setup. They cleared out the vision. They started up. Very lucky, really, for RNG to check it at the time and spot Team Liquid doing it.
It's so tricky, though, because RNG needs Let Me to be hitting the Baron and tanking it because they don't have tankiness on the other 4 members. But then Shen is taking an inhibitor. So there's very little timing window where they can actually make something happen if they're the ones actually starting the Baron.
Well, start the clock, Smithy, because Impact has made his way all the way to the inhibitor turret. He is actually hitting it right now, and the Skarner Spire has been taken. Team Liquid should rotate over and force once again.
But they don't know that Nocturne has been sitting here for the best part of 30 seconds. MLXG is looking to go for some sort of steal. But for now, TL is trying to feel out the situation in the game.
Has the assassination potential on that Nocturne as well. Finish the Yumus, finish the Duskblade.
He's still not moving.
If he can catch Double Lift out in this next fight, it totally hampers Team Liquid's plans. Pobelta is a massive damage source, but that's much more about landing the Hemoplague. We'll see if MLXG decides to trade here. Instead, just wait.
Still not moving.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to give up your
Do we have any refs to check that he's still there?
Their vision's based on
MLXG,
movement.
are you
Smithy.
okay?
Vision's based on movement. If you stay still, they
he's
can't
moving.
see you.
He's moving.
It's like horses in real life.
I mean, Team Liquid can see him now as well because he's walking
Maybe you should have just not.
Should have just stayed still for it. Oh, Team Liquid are going to start up the Baron here, and it looks like RNG are giving it up. They're going down towards the bottom lane.
Yeah, for sure. This has got to be the Baron for Team Liquid, and it has also got to be pushed inside. They're going for Impact.
Call of the Forge God was used, but the Brittle stops the channel. Impact down in that bottom lane is getting caught out by all 4 members of RNG. The flash at the end will fall, but Team Liquid are just going to try and force down mid.
Again, it's still going to be a 4-on-4 because still 25 seconds left on MLXG's respawn as well, and the Baron Siege is still going to go through, even though RNG were able to pick off Impact.
They have to use Orno and Rakano. They have no CC left, so it's going to be rolling through the mid lane. They'll get a second inhibitor top, maybe even up to the end.
Finn gets pulled in, but QSS is it straight away, keeping himself alive. The Hemo Plague, not quite enough. Oh, it is! Just enough from Pobelta.
And because MLXG is coming back up, Team Liquid actually reset before sticking around for the second inhibitor. They're going to say, yes, it'll be more beneficial for us to get Impact back. We can just have the reset. We have wards all over the map, and they can return to the Baron Siege later in a safer condition.
MLXG had been in that brush for about a minute and a half, maybe longer, and then he just walks up and says, I'm going to pop my sweeper and clear wards. That was a bit boneheaded.
That's why Frost was bringing up, MLXG and the boneheaded moves that he can pull off.
Fight started by Let Me in the bottom lane, but Ole and Double Lift were waiting in the wings. Let Me has to retreat. Double Lift, remember, he's at 5 items now. So strong on that Caitlyn.
Yep, and here they come, full steam ahead. Baron empowered Siege, there's no turret to stop them.
North American hype train is rolling through the base of RNG. Second inhibitor falls. You can see how much damage Double Lift does do if he lands one of those headshots straight through the heart of RNG.
Even though this is classic TL, every fan at home is waiting for the enemy Nexus to explode. They have everything set up for them. 12,000 gold. The Vladimir close to level 18. But so little needs to be done for TL. Dot those I's, cross those T's. Looks like it'll be their first victory.
Still got 2 minutes left on that Baron buff as well, so the push is even easier for them in this top lane. No towers left apart from those on the Nexus. No objectives left apart from this inhibitor and that Nexus as well. Team Liquid want the 50 gold to close out the game. There's the ace in the hole blocked out by Ming. Impact doesn't quite land the taunt. There's the charm as well. Paranoia used, but Pobelta gets on towards the backline. Let Me now in the front. Inhibitor falls. Team Liquid reset and re-engage for these towers.
Team Liquid going to be able to finish it off here.
He jumps in, lands the stun there onto Xiaohu, but it's not quite enough. But Team Liquid very healthy here, and Double Lift is still getting the Nexus towers down. Team Liquid so close to the win, the binder connects, and once again, Double Lift takes down his opposite man.
Looking to clean up the rest of these kills. Team Liquid, they've done it.
One Nexus Tower between them and the win here. One Nexus Tower between them and their first win at an international tournament. Their first win at MSI. The hope is alive as Team Liquid take down RNG.
As you can see, though, when they take off the headsets, all business. They know they got themselves into a bit of a hole as far as the tournament is concerned, but they still have possibility of getting out.
And
this is the first step.
And my favorite thing about my prep for this tournament was I thought we had multiple teams where if they got a lead in the early game, they could close games, and that hadn't been Team Liquid's story for 4 games. Couldn't get anything going, couldn't even work out their ideal 5. Here, they get through the early game, largely from Ole's playmaking on the Morgana, and from there, it was pretty clean, except for one big asterisk.
Put your rally caps on now, though. Team Liquid operate in 4s. Just saying.
You can see people who threw their jerseys into the bin yesterday, getting them back out, rooting through the
It's still
garbage.
good.
Like,
It's still good. It's still
I can
good.
still wear this. I can still wear this. Team Liquid finally find their first win at the tournament. At the halfway mark, they are 1-4. I'm sure they'll want to change that scoreline, even reverse it coming into the second half of MSI.
And when it comes for adaptation for their next game, it'll be about that first Baron setup. That was the only asterisk here where honestly RNG could have rewritten the story unless Smithy, who has been a big star for this lineup, a consistent player, got the steal. That would have heavily changed the game, but everything else you can pretty much copy and paste for your approach to game number 2 today.
Yeah, Smithy has shown he's able to do it in his home league, did it in the finals. He's able to do it as well on the international stage, steals another one for the team, and they're able to get the victory here.
If you're RNG, though, you're looking at this game and saying, we were never really in the driver's seat. You know, we lost the early game, we played around this mid-game composition, only had one team fight that really worked.
Yeah, definitely going to be turning the lens over to RNG after this one.
And you're gonna, unfortunately, just like TL was piling on one player for RNG, MLXG had a very down performance. They have a jungle sub in Karsa. Sure, there were jungle bans, but there was Elysian. There was something less risky than the Nocturne, and the Nocturne achieved nothing this game.
As well, the bottom side of the map, Fame,
2v2.
Uzi, and Ming. Yeah, everyone giving the respect here to these guys, and rightfully so, but, you know, calmly played by Team Liquid, and they're able to get their own priority and earn themselves their own victory in the bottom lane.
The question then becomes, Team Liquid have Kingzone to play later today. Can they transfer this form into a game versus the LCK champion?
I mean, they're going to be big Flash Wolves fans, that's for sure. Flash Wolves take them down, an unconvincing victory over EVOS. That's the time you want to play Kingzone, but if the other part is true, it's going to be a very tricky opposition.
Definitely is. We're going to hand over to an interview, Shocks and Doublelift from Team Liquid.
Thank you very much, guys. Doublelift, congratulations. First win at MSI. Long time in the making. What would you say went better in this game than how it went in the previous days and in the previous games?
I think for me personally, just picking a winning matchup finally was pretty important. I knew that if I picked a weak laning champion against Uzi, that I was going to get rolled over. Because that's RNG's playstyle, and they send a lot of resources to their AD carry. So, other than that, though, we didn't die to the enemy top laner's roams. Our communication in the previous games was pretty bad. We never communicated about vision. I don't know what's going on. We're just like really flustered, I guess. But we didn't communicate about vision. We always died to the enemy top laner's roams, and we just weren't very coordinated when we were fighting. I guess we were always split up on targets, and some people they were too scared to fight, and some people wanted to go in. So this game, I think, you know, we basically have nothing to lose anymore, so we kind of started playing a little more like ourselves. And Jake got a Baron steal, so that was good.
That was really good. That seemed to be the pivoting point in that game as well. You talk about communication, and we know that communication from Ole specifically was something that was cited as something that you guys needed to work on. However, this game, you guys seemed completely in sync. You crushed your lane, you crushed the game. How do you look back on your 2v2 performance specifically?
Laning versus Uzi is probably the hardest thing ever. A good example is like, I was playing against Reckless and Hillsong yesterday, and their bot lane was really, really good. And I died at level 4, and I felt super bad. And but in the end, like that didn't really translate into anything. But actually, what happened in that game was at level 2, I took a bad trade against Uzi, and geez, it was so hard. Like when I make a mistake against Uzi, he really punishes you to the max. And the fact that we're able to have a good bot lane performance, it just makes me really happy. And Ole hit some really clutch binds, so he's playing well.
He did. You guys all seemed like you were playing more of the Team Liquid that we saw in the finals and that everyone was waiting to see. And you say you have nothing to lose, but actually you have everything to gain. There are still so many games left, and you're only one win behind RNG and behind EVOS. So how are you going to preserve what you did here going forward to make sure that you could go on that run?
Every day that I played at MSI so far, after the first day I was like, what if we go 10-0? And then the second day I was like, what if we go 8-2? And then today I was like, what if we go 6-4? So I guess now it's possible to go 6-4. So hopefully we can ride the momentum. Hopefully our team feels a little more confident. It's like, we know that we've been playing really bad, not like ourselves. We've been playing just bad. I think like scared, just nervous, and just the pressure's getting to us. But after winning, I think maybe the momentum will turn in our favor.
I hope so for you guys. I hope you can keep it going. Fantastic performance. Thank you very much. Double lift. Back over to you guys.
Woo-hoo! Thank you, Shocks. NA gets their first win of the tournament. Jack, how you feeling?
I'm so happy Frost predicted Team Liquid because I don't care that I got. What the? Are you mad that Team Liquid won division?
I had RNG, man.
Woo!
They played so bad.
That's true, Frost. You
What's
got to be feeling
going
pretty
on?
good right now with the Team Liquid victory.
right.
Reason
All
to
right.
celebrate
All
here
right.
on the desk.
Okay.
But
I'm gonna move these
in
away
all
from Frost
seriousness,
for
this
now.
was a huge win for
Yes.
Team Liquid. We talked about the importance of turning their tournament around in this moment if they were going to have any shot of making it out of groups. And Frost, you were the one who called it, so I'm going to give you the first word on the desk.
Because, okay, I understand everyone here, Western fan, Western analyst, like, I get it, but I've been looking at RNG. They are not having a great tournament. Everyone wants to make fun of Team Liquid, 0-4, but again, the only victory that RNG had was over EVOS, predicted to be the easiest team in the tournament, and over Fnatic game one, day one, and barely scraped over. And a lot of it is because of their read on the meta, which we saw again. Banning the Gangplank against Impact. Did they not see his Gangplank? Literally, it was just like, oh, okay, this should be easier for now Team Liquid to win. They don't have to put Impact on Gangplank. He can go to his Shin pick. And then the fact that they also then have the Nocturne, they don't prioritize their jungle matchup. They go towards the Xayah again, like...
And they don't ban Morgana, and then they grab a first pick Rakan. Of course, Morgana comes in the bot lane from Team Liquid.
Team
They can
Liquid
get a
is more
Caitlyn
than
as well.
confident to go Caitlyn Morgan against Xayah.
They really want that Morgana, and we saw a huge game from Ole. He needed that badly after
Talk
the
about a
performances.
gift for Ole, a guy who was plagued with mental issues here after day one, taking himself out of the roster, but then you hand him his inarguably best champion.
Yeah, binding for Morg means Doublelift just has to trap on top of him, and they chained enough of them together in lane. You can see his accuracy was super high with Ming trying to get Q poke in because they were trying to shove way too often. And like when that happened, I almost thought, wow, Team Liquid, did they just win? Right? Because of what the tempo they were able to create bottom.
But this is the thing. In the LPL, they never play against Caitlyn Morgana. There are teams that play that combo, but for the longest time, it was held against Uzi that he didn't play Xayah. He eventually proved everyone wrong. I can play Xayah. He picked up 2,000 kills in the LPL, or his 2,000th kill in the LPL on the champion, but it came out so late, and Morgana Caitlyn was always kind of the West response of Xayah Rakan comes out, here's the Morgana Caitlyn. So they simply just don't have enough tape or experience to see that coming and got blasted by it.
They have definitely played against Morgana before. They play Morgana themselves. Ming is playing a champion with a dash. Morgana binding is one of the slowest skill shots in the game. It's like
Bounce around a little bit.
Got multiple
dash, click, no ping. It is so easy to avoid some of those if you have any sort of mobility. So, sure, Morgana Caitlyn, I'm into it. I get it. But just not like making this many mistakes against Morgana is unacceptable because, as Doublelift said, like they were able to win this lane because Ole could just hit bindings, and it snowballed the entire game because they played it so well from Team Liquid's bot side.
Yeah, and moving on from the confetti celebration and really looking at what Team Liquid did in this game, it's great that it happened, but I think most of it can be attributed to RNG making some pretty big mistakes. This game probably should have turned at Baron when RNG made that play. You can see a lot of the early game was still in favor of Team Liquid. This dodge of the gank was well played by Impact, but also pretty poorly played by RNG with their skill usage. And as you say, like the fact that Ming actually ends up dying here by going back in when Uzi's already been pulled in some bold attempt to save him, not great.
Yeah, just a lot of really wonky skirmishes. I do want to touch the Shen point. I think Impact is a phenomenal Shen player. I think it's his best champion. It band-aids a lot of his issues where it doesn't seem like he's quite getting to the fight on time for his team.
I agree with you that his Shen is great, but it left them open to be exploited. When they had an 8,000 gold lead, and then they start the Baron, they're opting into a Baron 4v5 for 6 seconds. And that definitely should have been punished better by RNG.
And I understand, it's just historically, C9 Reaper said it himself when they picked Shen against Edward Gaming in group stages at Worlds, that Shen is a great champion against the LPL. We love to skirmish, we love to find these fights, and they never think about the Shen ultimate coming in. And yes, it wasn't used in that way, but as we go forward, if you're looking for a way to exploit this through draft, Shen is definitely a pick that always catches these teams off guard.
And at the end of the day, there is comfort that comes along with that champion for Impact. But as you mentioned, Jat, you know, the game was kind of teetering on a knife's edge right around that Baron. Smithy keeping TL's tournament hopes alive with a Baron steal. This one brought to you by Ace or Predator. I mean, it's kind of crazy to say that this was on a knife's edge.
So, okay, you have a Zoe with a super low cooldown ultimate, and he's messing around up top. With the blast cone available, right, he should be going over the wall, he should be killing the blast cone, he should be throwing a skill shot into that control worded brush and stopping the 10% health Skarner from having a chance.
So that's obviously bad from RNG's side. I just want to go 20 seconds back before the replay when we actually had a massive lead for Team Liquid. They're the ones setting up Baron. If you are playing against Nocturne with things like Shen or TP champions, just walk to the Baron if you're setting up for it already, because you know Nocturne is going to ult in and you can't follow.
Right.
And then you avoid the 4v5. But right there, like Team Liquid just kind of split up a little bit. It was rough for them. Apart from that, and as much as we talk about the draft, I think it just overall, that bot lane completely destroyed Ming and Uzi.
Yep.
And then the rest of Team Liquid, outside of the Baron specifically, could actually just run over the rest of RNG.
Right, so takeaways here, because I think while NA fans will be happy to celebrate to have found their first win here in the tournament, it's not all roses at this point, right? There were still a number of mistakes, a number of opportunities for RNG to get back into the game, and things that we would look for this Team Liquid squad to kind of shore up in terms of weaknesses if they plan to make that run out of groups.
For me, it's not just the takeaway for Team Liquid, it's also for RNG, the same exact problems. Better Baron control and setup, and faster tempo games. You know, this time around, they had the Caitlyn and the Morgana, they were able to crush the lane phase and get it going. RNG need to follow suit.
Yeah, this game just made me more concerned about RNG because they had so many issues from draft into how they play in-game. Team Liquid, if the only problem they have is going to be Baron, they can still pick up more wins. RNG, on the other hand, there are some big issues.
Yeah.
Final point.
Yesterday, I was thinking, hey, maybe if Fnatic drops some games, like Team Liquid can sneak into that 4th spot over Fnatic and EVOS.
Now if RNG.
Now there's a chance that Team Liquid could sneak into that spot over RNG if RNG doesn't shape up, because that game was pretty bad.
Well, there you have it. Team Liquid continue to make the tournament interesting. We'll soon hear from Young Buck, though, as Fnatic, with Soaz in the top lane, look to continue their strong form against EVOS. More on that in a few minutes.